Today, my debate topic will be gun control. I will be arguing against why I believe we do not need more gun control in America. Since our country was founded in 1776, guns have been at the forefront of our independence. Roger D. McGrath argues that throughout history, the armed citizens are essential to the preservation of freedom, because if the government was to take away the guns and the people's way to defend themselves, that they would be taking away their right to defend themselves, because they cannot take away the means to defend themselves. Another argument against the government controlling our guns or taking away guns is that if they were to take away guns from the innocent, hardworking Americans that have guns for sport or to protect themselves, that they would just be taking guns away from the innocent people, because the bad people that wanted to get the guns would still find ways to get the guns. And they would use those to control the smaller population of people that are not able to obtain guns. And even in states where they have the strictest gun laws, like restricting guns, like New York and Chicago, they have the highest crime rates because the bad people still get illegal weapons and illegal things that they're not allowed to have. Just because people make it a law or the government makes it a law does not mean that people will just completely get rid of their guns and not use the things that they are supposed to. Our historians have noticed that throughout history, in places like Rome and Greece, that their strongest and most stable, like, city-states were full of citizens that had, like, weapons and ways to protect themselves. So gun control isn't about, I guess, the guns in the bigger sense, the bigger, like, picture of it. The gun control is about people's right that they have, their inherent right to defend themselves and protect themselves. And a lot of historians and people will say that when a government starts to become like a criminal government, that they will begin with taking away guns from the people and the people's ways to defend themselves and protect themselves. And the idea for people to have their guns taken away is, or to be controlled at the very least, because gun control isn't about taking away guns, so to say. It's more about, like, just regulating them and controlling what people get to do with what, or the 15-day hold or the 12-day hold on a gun is looked at as the same way as someone withholding an announcement by the government for 12 days to make sure it's politically correct, or that it reaches the right audience that they want it to reach, if that makes sense. That it's like the government regulating things and starting to control people, and that's what people are afraid of, and that's why people do not want gun control. They want the people that are against gun control want very little government involvement. But the people that argue for gun control argue that, like, to protect people and to protect the people that can't defend themselves, like the kids in the schools and stuff. But then another argument against that is, what if we armed teachers and we taught teachers the proper way to use guns and to defend people? Because in my opinion, the best way to protect American citizens and anyone in general isn't to take away all the guns from the little people and give them to the big people, because sometimes the government isn't always going to be there to protect someone. So if we give guns to the right people and give them the right to do that, that it will balance itself out, and that, because bad things are always going to happen. Like recently in the news, you've seen stabbings in places like London and Sweden, and those weren't done by guns. And you can't regulate knives or sharp objects because people will always be able to find those. But if you're able to train people in a proper way and teach them what to do in the right situations, then we wouldn't need gun control. Or we wouldn't need the big people to monitor the small people, because that's not all the government's supposed to do. They're supposed to take care of our big picture problems and everything, but gun control and our right to defend ourselves isn't seen as a big picture issue. It's seen as the little people defending themselves and having that right to defend themselves. Because say one day the government turns bad, it completely goes awry, and they storm, say, my hometown, how are we supposed to defend ourselves if they have all the guns and the big guns? We can defend ourselves with the guns that we have, but if they were to take those away, we would not be able to defend ourselves. The summary of what I'm trying to say is that I do not believe in gun control because I believe in minimal government involvement, and I believe that the people should be able to regulate themselves and decide what they need to do for themselves, because that is the way that our founding fathers have seen it, and that is the way that historians before us have seen it, and I believe that is how people in the future will view it once we come to a conclusion in America on how to deal with this issue. Thank you.